Hello and welcome to the Giving Voice to Depression podcast. I'm Terry, the creator and co-host of this podcast. I've lived with depression most of my life, and I know how easy it can be to feel all alone in the experience. I'm not alone, and you aren't either.
And I'm Dr. Anita Sands, a licensed clinical psychologist with a number of my own diagnoses, all of which bring a certain amount of anxiety and depression along with them. There is great power in shared experiences. We share our own as we engage in intimate and candid conversations with our weekly guests, exploring different perspectives on and experiences with depression.
We keep it real because depression is real. We keep it hopeful because there truly is hope, in spite of what depression tells you. This podcast is produced in partnership with Recovery.com. Recovery.com provides resources and information for individuals seeking treatment for mental health or addiction issues. Its website is a fact-checked and vetted online platform of treatment centers to help individuals find the right path to recovery.
We release 2 new episodes a month, and the other weeks we will pull impactful stories from our archive of more than 400 episodes, stories that you may have missed if you're a newer listener.
This episode is from our earlier years, when I co-hosted with my sister Bridget.
Hi, Terry.
Hello, Bridget.
Have you ever heard a lyric in a song that reminds you of your depression or how it makes you think and feel? Like the line in Ingrid Michaelson's Still Breathing. I want to change the world, instead I sleep. Sarah Bareilles' song Brave has the lyric, maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. And rapper NF's songs have a lot that hit home for us, including I want to know what it's like to be happy. I want to know what it's like to wake up in the morning and feel like it's real when I'm laughing. I want to know what it's like to sit down with my friends and feel like they might understand me. Or, she used to laugh, but now she's crying, sick of the pain. She puts on her mask, pretends, and acts like she's okay.
For me, it's usually just a phrase that strikes a chord or stops me and makes me think, yeah, that's what it's like. But I'd never heard a full song that resonated on a deep level until I recently met singer-songwriter Demetra Prochaska. We were on a mental health panel discussion together, and I asked if she'd written any songs specifically about her mental health struggles. She picked up her phone, scrolled to some lyrics she'd written, and just started singing an original piece a cappella. Now, I'm not much of a crier, but as the cameras rolled, recording the discussion for use in schools, tears just poured down my face as I thought of how she must have felt writing that, and how many others feel or have felt that same hopeless way.
In that moment, we knew we had to invite Demetra to share her story and her talents here. We'll begin with a bit of her mental health journey, and then we'll focus on her haunting song. Here now is Demetra Prochaska, giving her voice to depression.
Demetra is a self-taught piano and guitar player who's been writing songs since her early teens, about the same age that her parents divorced, and she first suspected she was depressed.
I don't remember how old I was when I was aware of it, because nobody talked about it when I was 12, 13. So 8, 9 years ago, it was kind of this taboo subject.
That didn't stop Demetra from talking about it, though. She is a fierce self-advocate. Did you go to a friend, a guidance counselor at school, a parent? Who did you say, hey, something's wrong?
I really confided in, when I was 14 in my high school guidance counselor. Yeah, I told her basically everything as much as I could just to get it out and to, make me feel not alone. And, some teachers I would confide in, too, at school, and it was safe for the most part. I should say for, authority-wise.
So when we say tell a trusted adult, that's not just like a bumper sticker or something in a pamphlet. That actually is good advice, and it helped you?
It did help me. especially because I felt like I couldn't, at that time, I couldn't turn to my parents. So I go to school and do there. I felt like they were sometimes more helpful, I felt heard. Basically, like, the feeling of being heard, it's a whole, like, feeling experience in itself. So, like, I didn't feel like I was just, like, talking to them and then it'd be like, oh, okay, I felt like they, like, genuinely cared about my well-being. So I guess it was, like, looking for that aspect as well. Wanting to feel heard and wanting to feel like I mattered.
While still in high school, Demetra's situation worsened. She ended up spending 10 months in a residential treatment center. She freely admits that in the beginning, she was not, as she puts it, committed to change.
And it was like, when I first got there, like the first 4 months, it was me basically like in fear, like, oh, like, how long do people stay here? Like, oh, like, what do I expect here, And then the first 4 months, I was just testing everything, like, oh, like, I can leave, because I was used to, like, I was in the foster system at the time, so I was just, like, used to going placement to placement after, like, a month or something. So not, like, long-term stays.
But eventually, Demetra says something shifted, and she opened to her treatment and recovery process.
Sure, people sometimes fake it till they make it, but I was like, if I'm here, I'm going to make the most of it. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that was, those first 4 months, it was kind of like, what can I get away with? What can I do here? How are they going to do this? And then, since then, it was like, I'm here. I've accepted I'm here. I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm glad I did. Because to this day, I still keep in contact with the people there. The people that helped me there and the people that are still there, at least.
Now 22. Demetra says she literally doesn't even remember the person she was back then.
I sometimes look back at my life and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of embarrassed of who I was before treatment. I mean, I get at the time, it was like, that was what I knew and that was like what helped me at that point. I would like self-harm and stuff and do like what I thought would be like the craziest thing to like get attention or like be heard. But like I know some parents and like kids are in like denial about a lot of stuff, and like I was in denial too about a lot of stuff. I mean, I still took that opportunity, to like go get help.
And if this were a fairy tale or after-school special, we'd tie a pretty bow around Demetra's story and say she lived happily ever after treatment. But you're listening to a podcast on depression, so you know better. So does Demetra. So instead, fast forward 6 years to 2020, a global pandemic, and a time Demetra describes as unbearable.
I can't really describe how it was. It was just for months straight, constant, like every day. I was just exhausted every day, and I was like, I know I haven't felt like this before, and I know I've been happy at some point, and I just missed the feeling of being happy, and I knew it was possible, and I said, like, I just don't want to live a life like this, because I knew that I was so far in that I was like, I don't know what else to do right now. I need to write everything down, how I'm feeling.
What Demetra wrote was intense, visceral, and hauntingly beautiful.
When I wrote this song, I was practically like really depressed, pretty suicidal. So I was like, I need to be real for a minute, I say I'm depressed all the time, but I'm like, I need to really try to write something right now.
And real she was, really real. Tears and notes and words spilled from Demetra, and within minutes she had composed and recorded the beginning of I'm Not Okay. Just a warning, if you get emotional when words touch you, this probably will. We'll play the first minute.
I don't want to die, don't want to live a life like this. I admit
We warned you. Powerful, right? And there are some really noteworthy word choices, like the very first lines.
The first two lines, it says, I don't want to die, don't want to live a life like this, I admit.
It's a distinction suicide attempt survivors regularly make, that it's the situation and the pain more than life itself they're trying to escape.
I mean, it was really hard to differentiate the two because in the moment you're like, I can't do it anymore. And it's, for me, the suicidal thoughts or whatever, the ideation, I should say, was more like, I just want to feel different. I just want to feel something. Because I know, like, my family and friends or whatever couldn't bear to have me, like, gone, or, like, the people that care about me. I knew that. So that was really the point that stopped me most from ever really acting on anything. But yeah, don't want to live a life like this.
And the song continues with a literal cry for help. But even in that, Demetra leaves room for hope.
I want to scream at the top of my lungs, someone please help me. 'Cause right now I don't think I'll ever be okay.
Did you catch it? She says, right now, I don't think I'll ever be okay. She's in it. It's unbearable. She's exhausted. And yet, Demetra is still able to hold on to the truth that she hasn't always felt that hopeless, and that she might not at some point in the future. It's really something.
I mean, for me, it was just because, like, I've done it before. I've been in a dark place, and I've come out of it. So for me, it was like, I know it'll pass eventually. I just didn't want to feel that way for, like, as long as I was feeling that way, you know? Because it was months and months and months, and I was like, when is it going to end, really, for me? But I knew it was gonna, eventually, that I was gonna pull out of it and be able to take a step back and cope and, I guess, not put so much pressure on myself. Because that's what I did that a lot. Or I do that a lot, really. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I have these high expectations, and if I don't meet them, my mood goes crashing down.
One of the reasons we refer to Demetra as a fierce self-advocate is that when she crashes, she actually does the thing we're all told to do, but maybe feel like we can't, or just don't, which is to reach out.
I'm just a pretty open person. Like, I'm not the type of person who's, like, hiding. Like, I'm feeling kind of depressed. Like, I'm just gonna put on a smile and pretend I'm fine. I can't do that personally. I can't do it. It's, for me, it would be like more effort for me to do that than to just be like, hey, I'm feeling this way. And I can't even lie either. I suck at lying. I can't do it. I'm like, I'm feeling this way. I gotta be honest. I'm struggling right now. Like, just please be patient with me as I'm dealing with this.
In treatment, Demetra has also learned other coping skills, things she can do by herself, for herself.
I need to, like, just take everything day by day and not jump, like, a whole month or 2 or 3 ahead and be like, oh, I'm, like, stressed out about stuff I don't even know yet. I just need to be in the present moment and, check in with myself, like, how are you feeling right now? Are you okay, or are you not okay? If you're not okay, all right, what are we gonna do about it, Do you need a nap? Do you need to eat right now? Do you need to do this? Do you need to call a friend? I'm pretty good with that. It's just sometimes in the moment it's like, okay, what am I gonna do now? So, just really doing that every day.
This next part of our discussion and Demetra's song include the words crazy and insane, which we acknowledge as stigmatizing language. We also acknowledge that in the depths of a depression, it can be pretty easy to go there.
I just reach out to people and I'm like, I need someone talk to me. Tell me I'm not going insane. Tell me I'm not crazy right now, because sometimes, your mind can tell you things and it's like, I mean, sure, you could say it's like reassurance seeking, but like at the point it's like, I just need anything else to get me to see it differently, than what I'm telling myself or what the depression is saying, kind of like, yeah, just tell me like one good thing I've done for you or something. Just help me remind myself like my worth and that I'm gonna be okay in the end.
These four white walls are caving in, don't even know where to begin. And all these thoughts that are in my mind drive me insane. I can't wait another day. Hear me out, I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
Demetra wrote that song in June of 2020. It was November before she saw her doctor, and January before she got into an inpatient program and then graduated to an outpatient program, which ended just days before our interview.
To be honest, I think after I wrote that song, it was just, I was in such a downward spiral. It was just getting worse and worse after I wrote that song. It didn't get any better until I spoke to my doctor that day, and then I got help. Sometimes you can't do it alone. So I was just fed up with it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I know my limits, and my limits are I couldn't handle it alone. So sometimes you need that extra support, and that's what I got.
Wow, Demetra just shared with us so many coping skills, asking for help, reaching out to others, asking people to be patient. Do I need a nap? Do I need to eat? All of it. I mean, reflecting on asking people. I mean, what an act of courage to ask people to reflect back to you your value or your worth or your contribution, because you totally lose touch of what your value is when you're in a hard place.
Right. Just tell me one thing I've done for you. Tell me who I am. Remind me of my value.
Exactly.
Yeah, I learned a lot from her. And right?
So wise. And such a beautiful song. I literally had goosebumps on my goosebumps.
I've never even heard that, but I must say,
Well, it was literal.
well, having cried in public while I was being recorded, I can say it had the exact same effect on me. So I'm really grateful to her.
Which says a lot, because you really don't cry much.
It does say a lot. So,
and a shout out to the counselors and teachers, not only in Demetra's life, but in so many people's, that she was able to feel heard is just so huge. As she said, it's a whole experience in itself.
And also just a quick revisit of the last thing that Demetra said, where she said, I just couldn't do it anymore. I knew my limits, and I couldn't handle it alone. So sometimes you just need that extra support. I don't know if we're in a position to give permission, if anybody needs permission, but if somebody is listening to this and just needs a little nudge that it's okay to say, I'm not okay, this was quite the nudge.
And for those of us who are always looking for a way to support somebody who needs support, I mean, over and over, we're told, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle that moment. Holding up that mirror to reflect back their value and contribution is a doable, free thing that we can all do. Even if they don't ask for it, we can do that.
Very, very good point. And I think it's not only doable and free, but I think it's powerful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Demetra. Thank you, Bridget.
And we're going to close this episode out by playing Demetra's full song, I'm Not Okay. It will last about 2.5 minutes long, and we'll also link to Demetra's YouTube channel so that you can hear more of her music. Thank you for sharing so much of your wisdom with us, Demetra.
I don't want to die, don't want to live a life like this. like it'll never go away. Such a shame that I may never know what it's like to be happy, that I may never know what it's like to feel okay. I wanna scream at the top of my lungs, someone please help me, 'cause right now I don't think I'll ever be okay. These four white walls are caving in, don't even know where to begin, 'cause all these thoughts that are in my mind drive me insane. I can't wait another day, hear me out, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I don't wanna cry, don't wanna live a life afraid who I became. Oh, I see his scars beating around my broken heart. I'm torn apart. Yeah, I may never know what it's like to be happy. Yeah, I may never know what it's like to feel okay. I wanna scream at the top of my lungs, someone please help me, 'cause right now I don't think I'll ever feel okay. These four white walls are caving in, don't even know where to begin, and all these thoughts that are in my mind drive me insane. I can't wait another day, hear me out, I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
We truly hope that our podcast brings a little more understanding, helps you better articulate and reflect on your own experience with depression, or better understand how to support someone else who is struggling.
If this episode has been of comfort or value to you, know that there are hundreds of others like it in our archive, which you can easily find at our website, givingvoicetodepression.com. And remember, if you're struggling, speak up, even if it's hard. If someone else is struggling, take the time to listen.